Welcome to Angels and Demons podcast. My name is Vincent Morgan. Our guest today is Z-Man. Z-Man, welcome. Great to have you out here. Z-Man and I go way back. He's an LA and manager, fitness trainer at LA Fitness. When I would go in to work out, he was the most positive, upbeat manager that I had ever met at a gym. He just made you feel welcomed. He made you feel appreciated and made you feel like you were where you were supposed to be. Anything you needed, he would help you. A little background more about him is he's also 33 years professional martial arts instructor.
Yeah, I've been training for about 33 years. Not all of it has probably been teaching, to quote Bruce Lee, I'm always a student and sometimes a teacher.
That's a great quote.
I like that one. Yeah.
Always a teacher. Yes, you though you're a very humble man. I have seen your magic work.
When I got a great pump man like you, I don't think I need to say much. You're so humble yourself, and you always do such a great job of telling the story of what people are doing. So to be here on this podcast, on the Angels and Demons podcast, I've been watching you from afar, man, and to see this thing grow. And for you to ask me to be part of it, I had to be a part of this, man. This is special.
Well, I really appreciate that. Thank you, Z. That means a lot. I really appreciate that. The whole purpose of this is to give back. We had another shooting the other day. It was devastating to me, broke my heart. I mean, to know that we deal with frustration and anger now in a way that is just mentally not healthy. And so having 14 nieces and nephews and having, a kid on the way, it just breaks my heart to hear all this damage and distress put on our nation. So I'm trying to help whatever I can do to make a difference, And so I just am doing the best that I can. So I appreciate the compliment.
That's all we can ask of anybody, or including ourselves, right? Is to give our very best. So that's greatly appreciated.
So a little bit about Z-Man is we've been friends for a long time, but something different. One day I hear that Z is at the hospital. I was like, what in the world's going on? And so I got a hold of him, and I'm going to let him more tell the story of how everything was just normal. You go in to LA Fitness, you see smiling Z, everything's cool. And then one day it just was different. And so I'm going to let you have the privilege to tell us a little bit about what happened and why life was different after that.
We can dive right into it. A privilege is a great word because it's a privilege to be alive, especially after a day when the doctors themselves have told you that you shouldn't be here after this. So, I've been the biggest fan of martial arts my whole entire life. This was a Sunday, unlike any other particular Sunday. This was Easter Sunday of all Sundays, 2019. And I was actually doing some filming for some social media stuff. I had Jim Arbogast with me, phenomenal videographer and cameraman. And so we were filming and doing some different sets on the beach, different parts of the coast down in Mayport. And so we decided to go to a different location, a little further down the coast. He had his own car. I had my own car. So I'm driving like I normally drive. And then out of nowhere, I just felt like the deepest, heaviest knot right between my shoulder blades, like right over here. And this knot was heavy, unlike anything I've ever found.
So working out at a gym, can you give us an idea of what that weight felt like? If it was a 50-pound dumbbell?
The interesting thing about it is it felt like it was in an area of your body that was so deep, to the point where you didn't know you could feel something that deep in your own chest area or back area or wherever the case may be.
You knew something was very wrong
there. Yeah, I think so. There might have been a little denial in there at the same time.
You're a very optimistic guy.
So it was hurting, man, bad. And it would come in really sharp and heavy at the same time, to the point where I'd have to wince a few times while I was driving to the next location. I was just like, like that a few times. Then it would go away, it would kick back in. And then we get to the next location, and now we're out on the beach. And Jim didn't realize right away. He's kind of talked to me, man, I think it's going to be great if we set up over here. We do this, we do that. He's going on and on. He's in the zone like we both usually are.
And all you're thinking about is his pain.
Oh, well, he sees things, like such an artist. And while he's talking to me, he looks back over, and I'm sort of like, I'm like really hunched over here, and I'm in like real pain. And so he's like, "Man, are you okay? What's going on?" And I told him, I'm feeling this pain back there. He's like, "Dude, you're a tough guy, man. You don't ever talk about pain. Like, I think something's wrong. We should probably get some help." I'm like, "Nope, I'll be all right."
Nope, I'll be all right.
We'll shake this one off, kind of thing. And I wasn't still sure what was going on or what was happening. So I know I didn't have a lot to eat that day when I left, because we were, really looking to get our filming stuff in, before we had to go do the family stuff. So I kind of rushed out there, didn't really eat a good breakfast. So I thought maybe my blood sugar level was low or something. So I asked him to go grab, an orange juice or something. And so I drank it, but even before he got it to me and I was drinking it, I remember as he left and was going to get something, now I was on the beach by myself. There was probably a handful of people out there. Some were fishing, some were like playing catch with a football or something. So in the back of my mind, I felt like if I completely collapsed, hopefully somebody will see me. Maybe.
See, you're so optimistic, man.
Maybe they'll
in the midst of a heart attack, like somebody will recognize me and see me just laying on the ground, and they'll be like, "Hello, sir, are you okay?"
How about those odds? Right? Maybe I'll get a look at here, and somebody will toss me a bush, throw me a phone call, and somebody will come help me out.
That's crazy, man.
So I'm walking around my car. I'm kind of pacing and circling around my car, and now the pain is intensifying. And then when it starts to come back, it's lingering a little longer at a time. And I started to feel tingling in my arm, and then my left arm went completely numb. Like it just went. It was gone.
Fuck, man.
And then the right one, right after that, completely numb. And then my vision was just completely gone. Couldn't see a thing. I knew exactly where I was.
So your arm went numb?
Both are numb at this point. Yeah, the left went first, then the right shortly thereafter.
Where'd your mind go at that moment?
I think it went into kind of survival mode to a degree. I remember my second kickboxing match. I was actually the guy took a cheap shot. You usually you go to touch gloves. There's an unwritten rule. The bell rings, you kind of touch gloves, and you go back and you kind of go at it. Well, in my second amateur fight, we went to touch gloves, and this fella, he went to reach out to touch gloves, and he hauled off with his lleft hand and gave me a left hook as hard as he could.
Please tell me he demolished his ass.
So he's a lefty.
Did you demolish his ass at the end of it?
And the problem is with amateurs, you don't necessarily get a scouting report. So I was a sucker punch, and he was lefty, and we were supposed to touch gloves. Now I got knocked out on my feet in that moment. It reminded me of that moment.
Gotcha.
Pain. I
Pain.
wasn't completely knocked out, and he didn't know that, though. So I just kind of did a couple of phantom punches, like I was still warming up, maybe through like a phantom front kick or something, and it kept him far enough away to where he didn't know I couldn't see. My vision came back, and somehow he ended up breaking his leg when he was fighting me, and they had to carry him out. I don't know how that happened, but
it's just the end of the story I wanted on that one.
And
so
I
did
get the victory there.
So for your chest. That's the pain level. So there was a pain on the guy that took the cheap shot on you. There was that type of pain.
It wasn't the pain as much as it was the vision.
Okay.
Leaving and still being conscious of where you are in the moment. So I would sit down in the car, and then some moment would go by where I'd be like, well, maybe I need to stand up. So I would go back between standing up, pacing around. Eventually my vision slowly came back. And then my arms slowly came back to a degree. And then finally, my camera guy, Jim, got back. I drank some of the juice. I couldn't really quite get to where I was. And I said, look, man, I think we need to call it, and then at that point in time at the beach, my thought was, I'm just going to drive to one of these emergency centers, one of these little small
tapped out
hospital
for the day
stuff. Yeah. I figured it was
tapped out.
I didn't know, the pain was tremendous. So I remember driving, and normally I'll drive with the left hand, but it was too painful to drive in this position because it was between the shoulder blades over to the left where the pain was severe. And it was kicking in and out. It wasn't constant. It would come and go. So I was driving with my right hand, and I had to like turn angled like this just to even drive.
What?
Yeah, with this
critiquing the way you drive. As you're having a heart attack, you're like, I can't with this arm. Let me use this arm. Like,
so I'm like,
everyone passing is probably like, I've been driving wrong my whole life. 8 and 5. No, this is the way. Little do they know they're driving by someone having an extreme heart attack. Just bam, 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 bam.
That's the thing, and so I don't know if that style caught on or not, like a new fad.
A new TikTok trend.
And then me being the bigger dope that I am and being in greater denial, I got and passed the emergency center, and I was close to home, and I was starving. I was so hungry. I said, I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna relax. Maybe I can just
See, tell me you did not do this.
I don't know what's going on here. Maybe this will pass. So I got home.
You're a delusional optimist.
You ain't lying. I kicked my feet up as much as I could, but I was in tremendous pain. More pain now than at any point in time.
Scale 1 to 10, give us a number.
It's
Just kind of like
charts.
off chart. So 10.
It's like it never fell. And then I actually tried to eat a couple slices of pizza. I was so hungry. I think I got a couple of bites into it. And then I'm like, well, maybe I can roll this out. Maybe it's a knot. So now I'm on the ground with like a little foam ball, and I'm rolling around here.
Really?
So in essence, I'm trying to actually, in reality,
You're trying to roll out a knot, weren't you?
In reality, I'm trying to roll out a heart attack. But I've been denied.
See, I mean, you were a martial arts god. I mean, like Hercules,
Well,
both legs and arms are off, and he's still like trying to win,
Yeah, they say you got to wow. screw to be, come from the kickboxing world and all that stuff. So maybe you do. So finally, I'm sitting on my couch. I'm trying to watch TV. I'm so uncomfortable. The pain is kicking up so much.
Off the charts.
I finally said to myself, if you don't go to the hospital now, you might die. And then I thought about my family, and I said, I can't put this on them. And
here, let me just.
I don't know what's going on here. Maybe I need to go. Maybe I don't. So, but it's like I kind of knew I was having a heart attack, but I'm in denial on one hand. So I drive myself now to the emergency clinic.
Damn.
Yeah. So now I'm on the way to clinic. And I get in there, and I don't know if they were short-staffed that particular night or whatnot, or I don't know if this is normal protocol, but they had the security guard behind the desk.
Okay.
Kind of registering the people and everything. So I stumble over there.
Please don't tell me you're not allowed at this hour.
With every energy I've got in my body. Oh, it's kind of better than that. So I was like, listen, man, I think something's going on really bad. My chest is tight. I can't feel my arm. I got this tremendous pain between my shoulder blades. Like, I think I need to see somebody die. Like, I think there's something like seriously wrong going on here. And he's like, oh, okay. Well, here's this clipboard. If you want to go and fill out your information, and tell us what's going on. I just told you, boss. Listen, trust me, I'm not a complainer, man. Like, I never come into the hospital.
Sir, I've been fighting 33 years in the martial arts. I am basically a Spartan soldier. I'm telling you, I'm about to die. Like, let me through the doors.
I'm here now. So can we just get somebody? I think this is an emergency. Okay, well, just fill this out and we'll get started. I said, okay, fine.
You're telling me you feel well having a heart attack. You still filled out a form. You did it. You did this.
This guy was more daunting to deal with than the heart attack.
Please tell me when you filled out this form, at least it was a pen with a feather on it, right?
I wish.
It was glorious.
Give me a clipboard. I'll take the heart attack. It's better than dealing with you.
And when it gets to the part, chest pain.
So I'm filling this stuff out, and then I hand it to him, and I sit down. I'm waiting, and I'm waiting.
Damn. And how long did they make you wait?
Waiting. I mean, probably another 10, 12 minutes have gone by. Now, total running time since the initial pain when I was driving to the second location of filming, we're probably looking at close to 2 hours, maybe over 2 hours of total time dealing with this.
It's crazy, man.
The onset of this heart attack, right?
So when did they get you back?
So I walk over to him and I was like, man, I'm telling you, brother, I'm not complaining here, man. This is bad. I need to see somebody now. And he says, oh, okay. I'll tell you what, we'll put you in the wheelchair over here. I am not making this up,
dude. It sounds like you are, but I know. I work in the medical field. I know it's just like here's a guy that probably bumped his elbow on the door, and he's like, "Oh, I need some ibuprofen, please."
It's like, guy, I didn't say nothing about my legs. I said chest between the shoulder blades. I was like, my arm is numb, but you know what? I'll take you up on that wheelchair because apparently we got no other solutions. So I'm sitting off.
Yeah, good decision, man. I'm going to tell you what, at least that's escalating the issue a little bit more. You went from a patient chair to a wheelchair. So then what happens here?
So I'm sitting in the wheelchair. Finally, the double doors burst open and I don't know, it sounded like music was playing and angelic music was playing. And I see the lady come over to me and never forget her name. It said Jessica right on there. She's like, so what's happening? And I was like, well, I said, I got this pain. My chest feels really heavy. It's really sharp and heavy at the same time between my shoulder blades. My arm's kind of numb. And she just goes, okay. And she ran behind the chair. And now she's pushing me like real fast. Like, I'm like, okay.
So she knew that there was something serious.
She knew exactly.
She knew exactly
when I described it.
Wow.
So she raced me into the emergency room. She got me on the bed, was plugging me up with everything, doing the the EKG thing on there and everything in case, and hit me with citrus, which opens up your veins more. Hit me up with some baby aspirin and everything, and she asked me what was going on, and I basically told her the whole entire story that I told you up to this point, So now she was fully caught up to where you're fully caught up, Yvonne, and then she got on the loudspeaker thing and started putting out these like code red things, and I'm like, oh god, that's not good.
Blood pressure.
Like she's calling for all hands on deck, and when she does that, like 7 or 8 people come running into the door, into the room full speed.
You're probably pretty scared at that point. I mean, you knew something serious was going on.
I did, I was concerned. It all happened so fast. Fear wasn't really
your adrenaline kicks in, and you don't really. It's like a distant.
It was really a strong denial, I think, still, that I wasn't really giving myself an opportunity to even feel a certain way. I think maybe about anything.
Sure.
Possibly at that time. And then so the doctor comes in, and now he's moving 100 miles a minute, and telling everybody what to do, and they're getting everything on me that they need, and then of course the nurse Jessica, she looked over to him and she kind of put her hand on his arm here like that. She was like, "You can talk to him though, like he's all there."
Just like that. You can't even make this up.
That's when I got a little alarmed. Like, wait a minute, what? You did right up here. What are you talking about? So then,
let me formally introduce you to like heart attack patient about to have a heart attack. You can speak to your doctor now. It's like
what the doctor did too is he kind of went like this and looked at me. He gave like a double take, and he's like, "What's going on, man?" I'm like, I don't know. Maybe you can tell me. I was like,
you're like, well, let me let you know. I know why it's called practicing medicine.
And then he said, well, look, here's the deal. And he told me about, the heart attack that I was having and what's going on. And he said, how long have you been dealing with this?
So wait, just from those few tests they ran, they knew what was going on? They knew you were having a heart attack?
Yeah, I think they did. Well, they did definitely recognized it right away.
Wow.
And
that's incredible.
And yeah, they definitely saved my life there in this moment. And
by doing what? So the aspirin everything that they did for you kind of opened things up so the blood flow was going.
Yeah, it probably helped to sustain that, I would think. The part that maybe got a little heavy is when the doctor looked at me and he said, how long have you been dealing with this? And I said, probably about 2.5 hours, maybe. He said, brother, you should have been dead in 10 minutes.
Damn, man.
10 minutes. And I said,
that's an angel right there.
There is.
That's an angel right there. I mean, I had an uncle that died from a heart attack, so I know that not everyone is not everyone is graced with that long distant period of time. I mean, you had like a few hours where you tried to roll down and then get the knot out, and really hear your heart telling your body like, "Hey, listen, I'm going out," and you're like, "No, you're going in. You're staying alive."
Right?
Wow. Right. Damn. So and from that moment, when were you run to the emergency room?
They called an ambulance, and shortly thereafter they rushed me over to like a big full hospital. And immediately once I got there, they popped the stent, up through the groin like they do, which is phenomenal how they can do that. And then they threw the stent in there, and then at that point in time, that's when I was kind of in the clear, where I was stable and everything was going to be, at least not such an issue of dying of a heart attack right then and there.
Heavy stuff, man.
Moment. Yeah. And even still to that point in time, I was still kind of in a cloud and in a daze and sort of in denial still about everything. And I wasn't really treating it as much of a big deal yet, that probably I should have at that point in time.
Yeah, it's amazing when we're met with catastrophe a lot of times. And a lot of people that are guests on the show say the same thing, is they deny what is actually going on.
Mm.
I mean, it's amazing how mentally strong we are built as humans. Like, we have an incident like that, and we still want to try to convince ourselves it didn't happen, or we like to box it up and pretend it didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate you just coming on and sharing what you have, because there's so many people out there that are still like nervous or afraid to share what really happened in their life.
Yeah, it could be kind of scary, and you get some anxiety revisiting it. But if it's something that can be told that can help somebody else, then I think it's worth it. It still didn't quite settle in. I called my because I'm down here, of course, in Jacksonville, and the majority of my family's up in Massachusetts. So I did call my sister, kind of told her, and I said, I'm fine. Don't tell mom and dad. I'm okay, because
They would panic and fly
I'm the
out
baby
right
in the
away.
family,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
So turns out she
yeah, they would have been first class, like flying down.
turns
wow.
out, like a good big sister, she said, no, F that. And she called them right away behind my back, which is fine. And she told them, and then she called me back and she said, don't be mad, but I had to. I have kids too, and I would want to know, and blah, blah, blah. And I said, okay, we're fine. We're good. So now I know my parents were flying down to see me. And
Wow.
of course they did, and they stayed and spent some time and helped me back.
How long were you in the hospital?
They probably kept me there, I want to say about a week to 10 days, if I remember correctly, somewhere in that window. When I finally got released, my parents were still around, which was nice.
A week.
I was told
Wow.
not to do anything physical, no martial arts, no going to work.
So not knowing anything, I'm not going to say I don't know anything about heart attacks, but give us an idea. They have different rates of, did they ever give you a definition of how advanced yours was or anything like that?
Yeah, they did. They did say it was pretty severe. They basically said that I shouldn't have made it through. Nobody really makes it through something like that. So I did consider myself pretty fortunate.
So they're like, typically in this situation, when patients come in, they don't always get that type of luck. Like they typically.
Well, they said I kind of had a lot going against me. One, and the severity of the actual heart attack. It wasn't a light one; it was considered to be very heavy, which is probably why it hurt so much. I don't know if there's different degrees of different pain.
That's what I was wondering. Is there like different? They labeled them like 1, 2, 3, ABC.
I don't know if they use the hurricane labels or any chrome flags. You probably could.
Category 5, wipeout.
You probably could. So,
oh damn. Yeah, that's intense, man. That's really intense. And
compounded with the amount of time that I waited to actually go.
All the odds were mounted against you for them to do what they need to do.
So I was contributing to my own demise in real time. Trying to, get out of it somehow. And there was no getting out of it. Not on your own.
Gee, man, I'm so glad that you're around and you can share this story, man. I mean, I don't know, the listeners that really understand, Z-Man went through a full-blown heart attack. Hours later, ends up in the emergency room and ends up somehow miraculously surviving. And it's only by the grace of God that he is here in front of us. And
I agree.
You know what I mean? He is such an uplifting individual that when you were, like I said, when you were in LA Fitness, he made you feel like you were number one. You were like, do you need anything? What can I do to help you? What, going forward after this incident, how did you look at life differently?
The denial eventually started to leave when I had to actually deal with it. And, now I'm sitting at home and I can't work yet. I can't really do anything. I can't lift weights. I can't do martial arts.
Everything that you love to do.
Everything. Just getting up off the couch and walking into the kitchen to get a drink and coming back and sitting back down felt like you just scaled a mountain.
You did. You did, man.
You're out of breath. You're tired.
You're alive. You're alive.
Fast. I mean, you're so weak that your body has to work so hard to do every little thing. And every little thing that you do, you're exhausted after that. And
we take that for granted, don't we?
We do. And I was terrified that I wouldn't be able to do some of the things that I was able to do that I've always loved, that are my passions. Was, swinging nunchucks, doing martial arts stuff, working out, lifting weights, just doing active stuff. I really like to be an active person. And I was afraid that would be gone, and when you don't have immediate access to that, it can be real scared. So now,
was there like almost a depression, would you say?
Yeah, it definitely was a little bit. I was pretty bummed out over it, and because you feel like you're just invincible, when you're 39 and everybody's telling you, you're in such great shape, and and they're asking you for advice how to be in shape and how to be healthy and how to be strong. So There was a little bit of, me kind of like,
Denial.
there's the denial, and then there's a little bit of me just kind of even being embarrassed about it. Like, I'm supposed to be the guy that's in shape. I'm supposed to be the guy that's telling everybody, to
You're
be
the
healthy.
teacher. You're the instructor.
And here I'm the guy that got struck down.
Yeah.
And so there was that.
Not a place a man wants to be.
No doubt about it. I ended up going about 2 weeks later. I was clear to start working a little bit lightly, so I would work a little bit lightly. And I remember seeing all the members again was pretty awesome because they would all be gathered around, offering their support, and everybody was really, really cool. Everybody was very loving and accepting and supporting. And you were too, your whole entire family and everybody there. And then I remember I had this vest that I'd have to wear, and it was like an emergency vest. So if something happened, it would like zap your heart back. And then I got cleared to.
Did that ever kick in?
No,
you ever need
once on accident, and it scared the living.
Give me an example. What did that feel like?
When I got cleared to work out again, I was on a treadmill.
Okay.
Because I was starting to go a little harder. The thing was bouncing, and when it bounced, it lost its connection, so it set off. Man, when that thing set off, I thought it was done for. I thought it was
almost like an ADD, like boom.
Yeah, and I was like, and I was like, oh shoot, okay, nothing. All right, and then I realized it just got unattached, and then
that's crazy.
The doctor eventually, who Dr. Lamba, First Coast, cardiovascular, just a phenomenal doctor. I think the best in the world. He's really been instrumental in keeping me alive. He told me, okay, now it's time. We can get rid of the vest and let's go out and live life normal.
Wow.
So,
you went back into your martial arts training, back into training mode.
There was a moment where I had the vest still, and even though he told me I could get rid of the vest, for such a tough guy, right, that was in denial and everything, man, I kept that vest for probably 3 or 4 days.
Good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, I kept wearing it. I was.
Good for you.
I was scared, and then finally, I manned up and I said, you know what? No more vests. So I put the vest down. I started to drive back to work. I got about a block from my house. I pulled over, and I had like a fucking breakdown because it was like getting real. Like, shit, I don't have my vest. And I went back and I got my vest.
You knew the significance of the instance, and you were like, hey, listen, I don't want to go through this again.
Yeah, I put that
like the pain, everything. You were motivated to not go through what you went through.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
You were motivated.
So I put it back on, and then I went back to work with it again. And then I think eventually, a few days later, I did get rid of it and I shedded it. But, every little thing, if there's like one type of weird feeling in your chest, or it could be even in the muscle.
It scares you.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what is that? What's going on?
No, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. Just us talking, I'm like, am I like everything good here? Like the wire was touching there. I was like, ah.
Yeah,
I get it. You're almost like ultra paranoid because of the experience, and you look at life so differently. And when you wake up, any little ache or pain now, you're like, is it associated with that?
Yeah, you do. And at least for a little while I did. And that probably lasted, I don't know, months or a year or more. Can't remember, but I know I don't feel like that anymore. I know I feel really normal now, as normal can be. Probably the last 3 or 4 years, or 2 or 3 years at least, probably around 3 years, I felt like I don't really think about it. I do what I need to do, and I don't really let it bother me. And at the end of the day, if it's our time, it's our time. I don't want to go, but
this story though is so defining in your life, and it's funny. Like, I mean, life is just full of stories, and it's like this one is a story in your life you will never forget. You know what I mean? You look at things now, is so differently, in terms of like everything, how fragile life is.
Yeah.
Out of it, we wake up just thinking like we deserve, every day we're going to have. You don't really know you're going to have that, You
don't.
And so it really, to me, I mean, you definitely have a very, you've always had a humble demeanor, but I can tell like you realize that tenfold.
Yeah. I'd like to think that I appreciate it each day in life, but there's definitely different levels and degrees of appreciation that you can see things in a new light. You can appreciate things, in a slightly different way. And I definitely started to appreciate things a lot more. And even when things seem like sometimes in life things get heavy and hard and I can always fall back on, well, if I can survive this, I can survive this.
So for our listeners, what would you say, from being from professional martial arts teacher, director of LA Fitness, and being a fitness model and icon for so long, what would you give to our listeners that have bottled up either a situation in their life that they feel like they can't talk about it, or they're embarrassed about it, or whatever that might be? What words of wisdom would you give, that advice to the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing to do is, for everybody to take action and do things on their own pace when they're ready. And, you could take a big step or you can take micro steps. I think sometimes micro steps are the best. Just do one little tiny thing towards that step. And eventually those little things start to add up. It's also important to know that you're not alone. There are people out there in the world that support you. And if you feel like you don't have a good support mechanism, you can get it. I'm sure there's links and everything on this podcast that could get them, stuff like that, because I see you doing that type of stuff all the time. You're never alone in the world if you know somebody like you, that has a friend like you, and I'm sure somebody has somebody like that somewhere.
That's our modem. You are not alone. It's just to get people to realize and connect that mental health is not something that you have to just take and slide underneath the table. And I think, one of the, I don't know if the camera is able to zoom in here on this picture, but I just want to zoom in. This right here is number 19, 25 of the most influential people. And this is Theo Von. And I'm just going to read this real quick. It could be easy to label Theo Von as yet another crude manosphere influencer. The podcaster and self-declared white trash comedian, 45, in front of Logan and Jake Paul at Donald Trump's inauguration, regularly brings a host of right-wing personalities onto his show this past weekend. But Von skirts the typical red-pilled content. He's now the podcast pro of the moment for any politician trying to connect with the American public for both parties. I'm just going to tell you, Theo, no matter, I don't know about all the white trash, but I'll tell you this, he's done a masterful job at just staying unbiased. You're talking about micro steps every day. He had an Amish person on his podcast. He had a kid on his podcast. He's not trying to just grab somebody that's influential, a Kardashian, someone that's going to get him $1 million in his pocket. What he's doing is saying, hey, listen, we're all humans. We all go through stuff.
Yeah.
Let's stop faking it. Let's be real, because your story is humbling enough. You're a man. You want to win. You want to put on the boxing gloves. You want to knock someone out. You want to be a dude.
You'd like to think you can fight your way out of everything, right? And you like to think you don't need anybody. You're there and you can just do it.
Do it. Yes, self-dependent. You're self-dependent. Yeah. I can wake up. I can make the money. I can support these things. But this is a guy across the aisle that is respected. And I have to give a shout out to Theo Von, because, I watch his stuff. And I'll tell you what, when you do podcasting a lot, when you get up and you do it, not just like me, like here and there, but when you're in it, the grind, it's work.
I bet.
It's work.
Yeah, it's like a job like any other.
Yes, and he has to go in there. He has to deliver a message. He has to be assertive. He has to get a point across.
And this podcast has been taking off and doing so well. What type of work does the person just watching it and saying, this podcast is awesome, I love it, but what are they not seeing? What are you doing to get it to them?
Nobody's ever asked that question. Nobody.
Well, we got to know.
Okay, the behind-the-scenes stuff of what takes place, from the director, from the film director, to the audio director, to the media director, to the organization, to who comes on. The behind-the-scenes stuff and the crew is unbelievable. It's a team.
Wow.
And it's a team of about 15 people, it's a wheel. Wow. And you know that from fitness organizations. It's not just you. There's a team, right? Mm-hmm. And so every single episode is a lot of thought put into it. But one of the biggest things that I said, as being part of it, is I'm like, we're not going to do this for just celebrities. We're not going to do this to get thousands of views. I'd rather have one review and it be genuine than have the whole world pouring over it.
Yeah, that's the best way.
You know what I mean? Because then it becomes fake and phony. Yeah. Once you're fake and you're phony, it just dims. It dilutes the quality of life.
Sure does. Yeah, and everybody's got an angle out there. And so when you come at somebody with just, straightforward and no BS, that's the best way. And who's
someone that's coming to your fitness environment at LA Fitness that just knock you off your socks. You're like, this person, every time I see him, they bring an element into my life that I'm just like, they're like a role model to me.
I mean, I would say my VP, Frank Palmieri, over at LA Fitness is definitely like that.
Why?
And well, he's somebody that every time I meet, I and talk to, you feed off his energy. He's high energy. People say I'm high energy, man. This guy's probably higher energy than I am. And on top of that, just super knowledgeable about anything, and his charisma's through the charts. So when he teaches you something, it's entertaining and it's educational at the same time. Plus, he's highly skilled and highly talented. And I've owned martial arts schools, and we would fly to Las Vegas and learn from the best people. I mean, pay to go to these seminars and learn from the best people about business and things about presentation and sales, or whatever the case may be.
He's passionate about what he does.
Man, I'll tell you, this guy's better than the Vegas guys.
They get paid. Yeah, I believe it.
And fortunate enough, I've been able to just sort of become a disciple of his, just to be able to work alongside.
And his name one more time is?
Frank Palmieri.
And Frank Palmieri is who?
He's the regional vice president of LA Fitness in this area.
Okay, in Jacksonville or Florida?
North Florida, I believe.
North Florida, okay. And LA Fitness is from California, right?
Yep, originally Irvine, California.
Irvine, California, okay. Have a lot of family in California, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
That's really cool. So how did they get out to the East Coast? Do you know?
That's a great question. I think they just probably slowly started to migrate the market over,
okay.
As time kind of went.
Because you see them everywhere now. Yeah, and now it's not like a Planet Fitness. It has a very clean, professional demeanor to it. You feel like everything's well run.
Yeah. That's
group classes, pools. Like if you want to sign up for a group class or anything like that, tell us a few benefits of just joining LA Fitness.
Well, I think you laid it out quite well. It's more than just a gym that just have weights and cardio. You've got that if that's what somebody prefers. Personally, that's what I prefer. I know that's probably what you prefer a lot of times.
But if you want a yoga class, you can sign up for a yoga class. If you want a pool swimming class, you got a pool there.
And they got classes. They've got everything.
Racquetball courts.
There's racquetball. There's cycle classes. They've got
Peloton. If you want to do a Peloton exercise with 30 other people, you can sign up for this time.
No doubt, just like that. And I think sometimes too, people, they want to do something, but they've never gone to a gym before. There's I think last time I checked, and it's been a while, I might have to refresh, but there's only about 22% of the adult population in the United States of America that actually works out.
A Navy SEAL told me this. I ran into a Navy SEAL, and some of the greatest advice, and you being in the fitness industry, you can tell me whether I'm right or wrong, but this is the greatest advice he ever gave me. He said, Vinny, you spend 5 minutes doing push-ups and pull-ups every day for the rest of your life, you are better than having 4 great exercises a month in the gym.
I could definitely see that being a way that could work for somebody.
So he's like, daily routine, because then you can build upon the 5 minutes. You can go to 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes. Before you know it, you're doing something every day, but you're starting out to where it's nothing. Because some people are like, it's going to take me 40 minutes. Now I'm going to skip today.
Yeah.
But if it's 5 minutes, you can't really get out of that, right?
No, you can. You mentioned a really important thing about tracking something, and I do like one of the things that they say with LA Fitness is they say what gets measured gets improved.
What gets measured gets improved.
So if you're not measuring what you're doing, if you're not tracking what you're doing, you have no way of knowing how to improve it. It's important to improve, and it's not a contest against anyone else. It's
except yourself.
That's all it is. You're just really trying to be a better version of yourself.
Yes.
And I firmly believe when you start doing something with structure and it's physical and you've got goals and you got to get hands-on in there and do it, whether it's push-ups or going to the gym or anything, and you're tracking it and writing it down, it will change and structure your whole entire life around that thing in a better way and in a better place. So mentally, you go to a better place. Spiritually, you're in a better place. And of course, physically is really now a side effect at this point in time. You're just going to look and feel better.
Yeah, remember you at LA Fitness, you were never when I was on the treadmill looking over, is he at level 15, running at this speed? No, you were more hey, keep up the good work. You know what I mean?
That's all we can
keep it up. You didn't care what speed or what tempo, you just wanted, you were excited that the individual was there. They wanted to be there. And to show up is everything, right? You got to show up. You can't do anything unless you show up, right?
You're right, brother. When I look at my main passion of martial arts, do you know the 2 belts that people will quit at the most? What 2 belts do most students quit at?
You're going to have to teach me.
Take a wild guess.
Not the black
So
belt.
you got white, yellow, orange, blue, green, purple, red, brown.
I would say green and red.
So somewhere in the middle, you're thinking,
Yeah,
they become
yeah.
middle belts. Statistically, the majority of students across the board in school, since they've been tracking this, will quit on either white belt or, believe it or not, they will quit on black belt.
Are you a black belt?
Yeah, you could say that. My Grandmaster Roy Williams has promoted me over the years to black belt and
so
beyond.
explain to our listeners, just so that you understand a little bit about martial arts. He is an expert, 33 years of martial arts, but just explain the belts. Do you mind real quick, just so
Sure.
so they understand that?
Different systems have different belts and different belt systems and different belt structures. Now, initially, when belts came about and became a thing, as you see, the traditional martial arts uniform has sort of been a thing forever, right? And they would put a belt on that to hold that up, and there was a white belt. And as a legend has it, or martial arts lore has it, they didn't change belts. They just had the white belt, and over time that belt got dirtier throughout training and got darker and darker and darker and darker to the point where that thing became so dark it was pretty much black. And you were black belt. But what could be more real when you're talking about things being real? When you're ranking yourself now through sweat equity, man. You're earning this thing. There's nobody saying great job and putting a stripe on your belt, and it's not coming from an outside source as much as it's coming from you and you doing your training and following your instructor. And now it's getting closer to that dark color. So if you saw somebody with a dark colored belt, it's like, man, you've been doing this for a while. And you've been actually training. You haven't, it hasn't been in your closet. Like, you're using this thing. Like,
yes.
You can see it.
Yes.
It's dark.
Yes.
You're a black belt. That's nice. Supposedly that's how it kind of came about. And then the big thing is when belts initially started to be awarded, it wasn't for the student.
What is the starting belt?
A white's the typical start.
And then how long does it take to get to the next belt?
Now, every system's definitely a little different on that. When
you say system, let's go with your system. What is your system called? Samoya?
So, Lesage Do is a system.
Lesage Do. Okay. So Lesage Do, white, and then how long till the next color?
So you've got pretty much in this system, it's a little different. So the way my Grandmaster has this system is pretty much like white, blue, purple, brown, black.
White, blue, purple, brown, black.
Then you have degrees on your black.
Okay.
And the other thing too that's important is usually when they started to issue belts, it wasn't for the sake of the student. It was for the sake of the instructor, because the instructor needed to track who knew what and what they needed to know next. So if the instructor started putting belts on people, they started to know, okay, well, I got to show him this. And so he's got this belt. He knows this. He's passed this.
So was the belt more the knowledge that someone knew, or was it the skill level to take someone down physically? Because it's obviously very physical, right?
It would probably be the knowledge as well as the application.
So a combination of both. So your skill and your knowledge would implement your qualification to up a belt.
It's a great way to describe it, because that's basically the way it would roll. And
so is there any way a guy with a white belt should ever be able to beat someone with a black belt?
There's definitely ways. I mean, if you got a white belt, that's a phenomenal athlete, and this guy's really strong. And you got somebody that's a black belt that.
So like boxing, you have the weight divisions probably when it gets competitive and all that that you go through.
I mean, I treat everybody with, like, I don't care if they're white, I don't care if they're black. I mean, anybody can take anybody on any given day. So if I got to protect myself.
Even Italians like me, we're allowed?
Guys like.
Oh, man.
No doubt about it.
From Boston, Italians, they're allowed too.
Now, certainly, if you've got some level of training and, you definitely increase your chances and abilities to protect yourself, keep yourself safe, and your family safe.
So for our listeners, if you're interested in martial arts and you want to take your level to the next level, Z-Man is 33 years into this, and he's going to be at LA Fitness, director at LA Fitness, and he can definitely take you to the next level with martial arts. I mean, listen, white, whatever it is, it's a step. It's something that you're doing actively, physically. It's good exercise.
It's great exercise.
Mental exercise. And most importantly, what I wanted to touch on is through your whole experience, through your athletic experience, through your heart attack, through where you are now in life, everything that you have has expanded your tool belt.
No question.
So whether you have a belt of white, blue, brown, or black, you also have life lessons tied around there too. And so for, mental health is so important. I mean, what can you say as far as with all of this that's been spoken, how important is mental health in all this to stay in the game?
Absolutely. I mean, mental health is probably the most important thing. I mean, if you don't have a solid, mental health, it's going to show up eventually in your physical.
If you don't have mental health, you won't be able to survive a heart attack for 3 hours that you aren't supposed to survive.
Now, you got to stay mentally strong in those moments. If you can find something in your day that you can do that will give you the ability to take a break from a conscious mind. That's what they would talk about in the samurai days. They would call it no mind.
No mind.
No mind.
Give me a definition.
So,
and what does that mean?
Well,
no
on the
mind.
surface, it could be like, this guy's mindless. He's got no mind, but it's not really quite like that. It would be.
There's a lot of those around.
There are. It would be to be able to move and
phones.
That'll
no mind.
That'll do it.
Scrolling.
That'll do it. That'll absolutely.
Yeah, no mind.
This one would be more of connecting to a higher level of sort of yourself and creating a moment in time and in space to where you're not having a conscious thought. You're just pure action, right? So. The easiest way to describe it, I mean, if somebody's a baseball player and the guy's pitching at 95 miles per hour, you're not consciously saying to yourself, the ball's coming in. Oh, it's in the middle of the plate. It's a little low, and now I'm going to swing at it. Hit it. There's no way it's going to happen, right? It's going to hit the guy's glove and like.
You've been to some baseball games, haven't you?
Well, I grew up in Boston, right?
How many did you go to? Just ask me and guess.
Me and my dad probably went to a bunch of games growing up.
Nice, nice. In your blood.
It sure is. So being able to perform something without there being a conscious thought. If you go to the gym and you, or even if you're doing push-ups, you're not thinking to yourself, okay, I'm lowering down, I'm pressing. No, you're just going through the motion. So now if you're just going through the motion, but you're focused on that motion, it'll allow your brain to kind of just almost relax for a second and let go. And now
we need that in life.
Yeah, you're not really thinking about anything. You're giving your brain a little bit of a break, and your mind is in an area where it's just focused on what it's doing, and it's not focused on anything in the background. It's not focused on yesterday. It's not focused on tomorrow. It's focused right where you are in the moment.
And that is improving your mental health.
I believe it does. I think if you can go there at least once a day, whether it's a minute, whether it's 5 minutes, I'm a little bit of a junkie of it. I like to go there for about 2 to 3 hours if I can.
Good job. Well, I mean, you are the director, you are the standard, you are the role model for people coming in there. They look at you and they're like, they have to look at something to know where they are, right? You set the bar high. And so, you know what? I mean, for our listeners, again, I just want to welcome Z-Man for coming on the show. I mean, he is the definition of a badass. I mean, to get through a heart attack when you're not supposed to survive, he defeated all odds, got through that. He's here in Jacksonville, Florida. You're going to be located on Atlantic and 3rd over...
But people can find me at the Kernan location.
Kernan location. That's where the racquetball courts are. That's where it's real happening right there. That's where you can watch Z-Man, talk to him, introduce yourself, and just say, hey, I want to get started. I want to get my fitness journey started. And the reason that's so important is we believe that that can help in mental health. We do not want school shootings. We do not want bombs being blown up in schools. We want our kids to be safe going to schools. We want a safe world and environment. Over the last few, hours of hearing what happened on Fox News is just crippling. I mean, it's crippling to our society. And as Z-Man has said, like, you don't have to do hours and hours. Like, he set the bar high, 2-3 hours, but you can do a little bit, and every little bit that contributes to you are not alone and quality mental health so that you can go about your day and defeat your demons, and then you can build your angels so that they're there to help you through day to day. Z-Man, thank you so much for coming on Angels and Demons podcast. It has been absolutely an amazing time learning every aspect of through your heart attack, through your goals, and where you are now. Thank you for that. Thank you for watching and listening. Our next guest is Bryant Nolan, offensive lineman for the Sharks, Jacksonville Sharks. We are thrilled to have him on our show. He is again going to speak on mental health and wellness, and we look forward to seeing him. Thank you very much for listening.